is up, everybody? 2 Elixir mini tier list is here. I have done something a little bit different with this mini tier list, and I hope you guys enjoy. Coming in at number 9, the worst 2-cost mini inside of Clash Mini, we have the Barbarian. The pros of Barbarian is it is a strong mini with huge base stats when leveled all the way up. It has a lot of HP, it does a lot of damage, it attacks very fast, and it could wreak havoc on your opponent in the perfect situation. The cons of the Barbarian are, well, there really isn't many perfect situations for it can go off right now in the meta, and that's why it kind of just lacks and it isn't anywhere. There are just too many stuns in the meta for him to carry and do a lot of damage. The Electro Wizard stuns are everywhere, as well as the Wave Master. That's 2 decks right there. The 2 top decks are Wave Master and Natureborn pretty much, and they both have minis that can stun and completely neutralize your Barbarian. Backline minis such as the Witch hard counter him with the endless spawns of skeletons. It's really hard for your Barbarian to pick up value. And it does not have any unstoppable like the P.E.K.K.A, so it really can't even carry himself and completely counter other players who are either using Ice Wizard, using, stuns like E-Wizard or Wave Master. It can't just continue to pick up value over and over again by just continuously swinging, which is the main thing about the Barbarian. If it can't continually hit something, it is not very strong. Coming in at number 8, we have the Wizard. The pros of the Wizard are it has AoE damage that can weaken opponents. This is pretty strong if there are opponents that have a lot of minis that are stacked up, as it does do a ton of damage, especially when it gets double damage from, either a Barbarian King or a Natureborn. 66% heal cut is really, really strong as its second ability. This will really shut down opponents who are trying to heal. Good for the heal tile, good for people running Battle Healer and Healing Ranger. The cons of the Wizard are it does not do enough damage with the amount of HP minis have right now. There's so much HP on P.E.K.K.As, on Wave Masters, on every mini that it's really going to be targeting, which takes it almost forever to be able to take them down and get value. Also, in the later rounds with the no movement, you're not really able to move your Wizard, and they are able to play their minis so that you are not able to clip their backline minis with your Wizard. Another con of the Wizard here is there's not enough healing minis in the current meta. This is causing a very big problem for the Wizard, as it's really strong with heal cut, but when there's no healing rangers and battle healers all over the place, the Wizard will never strive. Coming in at number 7, we have the Knight. The pros of the Knight is as an AoE taunt that could disposition your opponent because they are not able to move their minis. This can come in clutch sometimes inside of a Clash Mini match and could be the determining factor. The cons of the Knight are it just does not have enough HP. Right now inside of the game, if you don't have a lot of HP as a main tank, you are going to get eliminated very quickly. As a support tank, well, there's just a lot of other supports in the game that are better if you are going to put it inside of your deck setup, and that causes some issues because you can either use a Lumberjack, an Ice Wizard, you can use so many other 2-cost minis that are going to be able to give you a lot more value. The Knight also needs to be 3 stars to be effective, but that elixir is better spent elsewhere. You're talking about 8 elixir right here for a Knight to be viable and to do very, very good work. But I would just rather have a 1-star P.E.K.K.A instead that could potentially be doing 36 damage every single time it swings. Obviously, it's going to be every other time because it's a 50% chance with 1 star, but it's still massive value there. The Knight, unfortunately, just is not there yet. It just needs a little bit more of a buff to be present in the meta. Coming in at number 6, we have the Spear Goblin. The Spear Goblin pros are it has a Clash ability that can force your opponent's minis into positions they do not want to be in. It really is strong if you are trying to clip down the opposition's back line, as you're able to do 20 damage once you upgrade the Spear. and it really does ramp up and start really pressuring your opponent to make sure that they counter the Spear Goblin. It can really take out magic archers, or anything else that is weak in the back line that is unprotected. The cons of the Spear Goblin are there are just too many tanky minis that are disposable that are protecting the back line minis. A lot of players right now are just running either princes, they're running, guards. Well, not really that many people are running guard anymore, but they are running minis such as Ice Wizards, such as Lumberjacks that really only matter when you just throw down a rage potion and you call it a day, and then you speed up your minis, and then the Lumberjack gets eliminated again and you speed him up again. So unfortunately for the Spear Goblin, this is a very big issue for it, as there are a lot of counters to the Spear Goblin, as the Spear Goblin really is good, but it's also really bad in the wrong scenarios. Coming in at number 5, we have the Guard. The pros of the Guard is as a huge shield when upgraded. It also transfers to allies when it is upgraded as well. This is very, very crucial and very, very good, especially in Grand Warden decks, because it has such a great synergy with the Grand Warden. It gives boosts to all of your other minis as well. If you have little minis that need to get protected with a big shield, the Guard is definitely a very, very good answer for you. I'm surprised a lot of people are not playing around with Guard P.E.K.K.A. With Natureborn yet. I'm actually going to try that out. I just thought of that right now. Maybe try it out. Maybe it might be OP, but the Guard is pretty decent, and the shield that it does give is a very, very big boost to your minis. Cons of the Guard are it has no stun, it has no slow, and it has no taunt, which means it doesn't really have much utility. The only thing it has is a protection for your other minis that sometimes doesn't even get you too much value. With the recent nerfs, he is hard to be played over bigger cost-effective tanks, such as, let's just say, even, I'm going to say the Giant Skeleton, even though the Giant Skeleton isn't really considered a tank, but it is kind of like a support. Then you also have the Golden Giant, which is super tanky. You have the P.E.K.K.A.s, and so on and so forth. Coming in at number 4, we have the Lumberjack. The pros of the Lumberjack is the speed potion is nice when it lands on the correct minis and can help tremendously in the beginning of matches if you have the 3rd star upgraded. It really can boost your magic archers, your dark goblins, your archer queens, anything that's in the back line that really wants to pick up value can also boost, your P.E.K.K.A.s, and it can really pick up value in the beginning of the match. The cons of the Lumberjack are it has to be pretty much almost at least 2 stars to be useful, and that is 6 Elixir. Yes, you can get away with a 1-star Lumberjack that's still 4 Elixir that you have to invest inside of a Lumberjack, which is a lot because it is kind of like a super disposable mini other than the Clash ability, and you barely get value with when it gets eliminated onto the board. That extra potion, it really doesn't get too much value onto your minis that you're really hoping to carry with. So that is why the Lumberjack is kind of one of those double-edged sword minis, but it definitely does pick up value in the beginning of the match. Coming in at number 3, we have the Miner. The pros of the Miner is it has Dissipate, which can help slow it down backline energy minis. There's a lot of witches right now. There's a lot of Natureborns. There's a lot of Electro Wizards in the back line that need to get dissipated down to give you an opportunity to stall it out in order for you to win the match. With the recent buffs, he also does a good amount of damage now. Now he does 3 damage with every single shovel swing, which is a lot more than 2. I'll tell you that right now. I could do math. What can I say? Also, he can push backline minis into your Mega Knight stuns, into your Wave Master stuns, into your Bandit. He could do a lot of things as far as displacing minis inside of meta. The cons of the Miner are can be fairly easily countered by minis such as the Magic Archer, which is all over the meta. The problem is if you put down your Miner and the Magic Archer retargets to the Miner after getting stunned or so on and so forth, it clears out your Miner, it gives the speed boost to the Magic Archer, and then the Magic Archer can go off. Also, if it doesn't get an elimination and it just does a little bit of damage to the backline minis of your opponent, unfortunately for you, you're going to have to spend 2, 4, 6, 8 Elixir for the Miner to be even useful, and that's going to be a lot of Elixir dumped into that Miner that's not going to help you win the match. Coming in at number 2, we have the Ice Wizard. The pros of the Ice Wizard, it slows down opponent's troops heavily. This is really important because there are so many bandits, P.E.K.K.A.s, Wave Masters, Countesses, everything in your face that the Ice Wizard needs to slow down in order for you to get value, especially in the early rounds. Slowing down a Natureborn can be the difference between you winning and losing a round early on. This is very, very important because you need to slow down the opponent before it is able to clear out your minis, and the more they are slowed, the slower they will be moving around the map. You have Countesses, you have Wave Masters, you have Bandits that are zooming around the map. The slower they are, the longer it takes. The 3rd star ability can counter clash abilities. There's so many bowlers, fishermen, princes, and now even spear goblins just sprinkling into the meta. This completely counters all of those minis as you are able to use the 3rd star ability, and it will pick you up value each and every single time. The cons of the Ice Wizard right now are their decks like the Archer Queen and Natureborn. They are making it hard for the Ice Wizard to get value, and they are everywhere. I personally love and play Archer Queen as my main hero right now, and when other players play Ice Wizard versus me, it really doesn't do too much. Yeah, I might have a hidden fisherman that I could stop, but that hidden fisherman isn't coming out to round 5, and I might not put it on the mini that you are trying to Ice Wizard ice block. So for this fact alone right here, the Ice Wizard can be one of those minis that just stay in your deck and aren't really used in certain matchups. Coming in at number 1, the best 2 Elixir mini inside of Clash Mini is the Archer. The pros of the Archer is when stacked, the Archer can completely carry a match. Have you ever seen a 10 to 15 stack Archer just shoot 100 arrows a second and completely take down the opponent or take down yourself? I know I haven't. It is very annoying. Another pro of the Archer is a lot of Natureborn and Barbarian King decks are using the Archer as it is slowly becoming a staple in the meta to deal with backline minis. It is very, very effective at clearing out backline minis because if you place it properly, you can completely counter a backline mini or make sure that you are targeting that exact mini with the range of your Archer because it always targets the furthest mini away. With Natureborn and Barbarian King, they buff up the damage of your Archer, so it will do 2 times the damage, which means it will be doing 4 damage 2 times. It will be doing 8 damage every single time it shoots if you have the 1st star ability. Do not be surprised if the Barbarian King sneaks his way back into the meta because of the Archer. I mean, Barbarian King is slowly coming in. There just hasn't been like an amazing deck yet, but I do feel like somehow, some way, somebody's gonna find it and Archer's gonna be back and just take over everything. The cons of the Archer are it has to eliminate an enemy or it has to rely on one of your heroes super before it becomes a super carry. Sometimes there's no weak backline troop to counter, and that can also be a pretty big problem for the Archer. If the Archer doesn't ramp up and if the Archer doesn't really start stacking very heavily, it makes it very difficult for the Archer to clear out everything on your opponent's board. It relies heavily on certain heroes to help boost her, which is also kind of awkward. You can only really play her right now with the Barbarian King or the Natureborn. I tried her with the Archer Queen. She's good, but there's just so many other minis that can flex in that spot that are better. But let me tell you something right now, the Archer is a super strong 2-cost mini, and it is a super strong carry as well if used perfectly. Archer is value like you better believe.